Welcome to Unabashed You. Today's episode is going to be just a little bit different. One, we are celebrating 6 years, 6 years of Unabashed You. Why did I name it Unabashed You in the first place? Well, I wanted to share with you kind of my discovery of realizing I don't have to apologize for who I am. And the same goes for you. And I want to and get to encourage you to do the same, to not be sorry for who you are, and in fact, to actually stop apologizing for it, whatever that might look like. So, yay to 6 years. Yay to anybody who's listened to all of our many guests and all of the many places on the globe that this podcast has reached. And it's really not about me. I'm extraordinarily grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Today we are going to talk a little more about apologizing, and it looks something like this: the 10 things that women need to stop apologizing for, especially after 60. Now, we can throw men in there too. That's, probably a lot of this would apply to men. It was specifically written with women in mind, but that's okay. We can do it across the board, and you don't even have to be 60 to stop apologizing for some of these things. You can be 50, 40, or somewhere in between. If this speaks to you, I am grateful. So welcome to this episode. As you know, most of our lives, we have taught ourselves to soften who we are, to apologize for speaking up, apologize for wanting more, apologize for needing rest, apologize for changing our minds. Somewhere along the way, being considerate quietly became shrinking ourselves. But something interesting happens as we get older. We begin to see life differently. We realize time is precious. You realize your voice matters. You realize that the things you once apologized for were never wrong in the first place. This, what we're about to go over, is a reminder that you don't need permission anymore. Sometimes it helps to hear it out loud. So here we go. All right. And yes, I am going to be reading off our guide about the 10 things women need to stop apologizing for. You're welcome to get that through unabashedyou@gmail.com. Just shoot me or find me on Instagram, same name, and I will be happy to share this with you. So let's start with number one: wanting more from life. Don't apologize for wanting more from life. Just because you've had a full life doesn't mean that your story's over. Desiring things is not selfish, and it can often be the beginning of purpose. So, case in point, I still had that thing. There was something in me that just would not let go. And that became this podcast. That became this desire to help you and help myself at the same time stop apologizing for who we are. Okay, now number two, change your mind. Did you know you don't have to apologize for changing your mind? You're allowed to outgrow opinions, relationships, roles, expectations. Growth often looks like changing direction, and you get to do that. You're not stuck in anything from the past. You can pivot, you can shift, you can change your mind. And number three, setting boundaries. Now, no is a complete sentence. However, you may want to soften that with, no, that doesn't work for me. That's kind of a softening of just saying no. And I think Oprah was famous for saying no, just no, without, we don't have to get into all the explanations. Well, no, because I got to do this and that, and she and he, and we want the other person to really, we're apologizing for that, and we want them to really get it, but we don't have to show up in such a shrunken state. We can say, no, that actually doesn't work for me. We'll have to do it another time. Or whatever it is that you want to say, we can say it in a way that is healthy. So protecting your time and your energy is not rude, it's wisdom. And hopefully we get more of that as we get older. I hope I have. Needing rest. Oh my gosh, this is number four. It's okay to need rest, and you don't have to apologize for needing rest. You have spent decades giving, serving, producing, carrying responsibility, doing all the things, being and wanting rest. It's not laziness, it's restoration. You notice the word rest is actually in the word restoration, and I don't think that's any accident. I think that's what that means. And it's funny how things can just sort of occur to you, seeing that that word rest is in restoration, restoring oneself. We need to do that. It's okay to take the time away to do that. And number five, speaking your truth. Now, it reminds me of the line in Jesus Christ Superstar, are my truths the same as yours? So obviously there's perception of how we see things, right? And something that might be true in alignment with what I think, how I feel, how I show up in my life. That's my truth. And there's an objective truth that's far beyond everybody's perception of it. I would say it's God's perception of things. But speaking the truth means speaking up for yourself. For many women and men, the second half of life is when their voice finally arrives. You don't want to silence it now. You want to be able to say the things. I'm not going to be able to do that, or whatever it is. And I've got a whole other thing I want to do sometime in a webinar or a course or something about different things, different sentences and phrases you can have in your back pocket ready to go. Like, no, that doesn't work for me is a really good one. Or help me understand. That's another one I really like and use often. Okay, number six, not being everything to everyone. When you try to be everything to everyone, you spread yourself very, very thin, and then you're really not much use to yourself. And then there's no reserve. There's nothing that you have to share and give because you've spread yourself so thin across so many different people and needs and responsibilities. You were never meant to carry every burden. And it's okay to release roles that were never yours to hold forever. When our kids grow up and they're out of the house and they've launched, the relationship is different, as it should be. You're now a consultant. You are not a manager anymore. I know some of us have a hard time with that transition. All right, number seven, something you don't have to apologize for, trying something new. You don't have to apologize for that. You can, and I encourage you to start the business, write the book, learn the language, take the class. Whatever it might be for you, that thing, you really don't want to get to the very end and think, I never did try tap dancing. I never did take that trip to wherever or whatever that thing is for you. And it doesn't have to be big, it can be very small. There is no expiration date on curiosity. The fact that you want to know about it is enough. And you get to pursue that. All right, we need to turn the page so we can get to number eight. Number eight in our 10 things to stop apologizing for, wanting a different kind of life now. That life that worked after 40, after 50 may not fit at where you are right now. And guess what? That's okay. You don't need permission to make that shift. You don't need to apologize for wanting it to be different now. Every season asks different things of us, and that is okay. Again, give yourself permission. I can remember when my husband and I were first dating, he really grew up and loved camping. I did not grow up camping, but we did do it as a family a few times. And I recognized that that is not my sweet spot. I did it and I told him I really don't want to do it again. I did not want to have to camp. Didn't want to work harder on my off time as my on time. But I know that a lot of people really love it, and that's great. No, I think that everybody gets to do themselves, right? Okay, that's just a silly story to explain that point. And number nine, taking up space. You get to be the fullness of who you are, not the shrunken in, not blossoming version of you that stays settled, stays stuck because the risk, the small steps forward keep you in paralysis. You might be afraid of making the wrong choice, but I don't think there really is a right way. I think there's lots of ways to reach different goals, and you get to start small and explore and take that little bit of momentum, take those few steps forward. So you don't need to shrink to make other people comfortable. That's not what this is about. Who you are, what you've been through in your life, what you've learned, how you see things, that's valuable simply because they're yours. And number 10, you don't have to apologize for being proud of who you've become. I think this is an interesting one because it's a word, at least for me, and maybe it's my generation, I don't know. We would tell our kids, I'm proud of you, and now we're not supposed to say that. And, but it was such a big deal if a teacher or a parent told you they were proud of you. That was a really big deal. So, I think there's lots of mixed messages about that. The thing is, who you are today is valuable, is worthy, and I want you to feel good about that. And I want you to give yourself permission to feel good about who you've become. You're not behind, you're right on time. So celebrate who you are today. And we know you've survived things that other people will never see, nor will they fully understand. So, which ones really spoke to you? Which ones resonated with you? And then where might you be in your life right now for something that doesn't require an apology? And if you stopped apologizing for that, what might change? Those are good questions. So the truth is that it's not that we need more time, we need permission. And guess what? Nobody is out there handing out little permission slips for you. You have to give yourself permission. Permission to want more, permission to speak honestly, permission to live this next chapter with courage, being brave enough to take that step forward. And guess what? The beautiful thing is the permission has been yours all along. All you had to do was step into it. Okay, I think we have just a little bit more left here. Okay, so if any of this resonated with you, I do invite you to explore next step. I enjoy working with women in my age group to help them find clarity about what's next and what's left in this season of life. This part of our life is not the end of the story. I believe it's been the sweetest season so far, and I've liked all the different seasons very much, but this has been really sweet. It's often where the most meaningful chapters begin. So that's something for you to think about. If you're wondering what's next, well, let's chat and see where you're at. I do enjoy talking with women who are exploring their next chapter. And of course, if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that 0 to 30 is Act 1, 30 to 60, Act 2, 60 plus Act 3. If you would like to have a conversation with me, you can book a Brave Enough conversation through unabashedyou.com, the website. I do not have a hardcore sales pressure situation going. I do not want to work with anybody that doesn't want to work with me. So it's just looking to see if we're a good fit. And that's it. Nothing more. No, I've been on the other end of some of those high pressure calls, and I can remember having a pit in my stomach over just how hardcore slamming the sales was, and it was not a pleasant experience. And that is, I don't want that for myself. I really don't. And I don't want it for you, having been through it. It's awful. It's horrendous. So, and guess what? We can just have a chat and you can decide now's not the time. Maybe it's not a good fit. Hey, that's good. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. It's all good. All right. Again, we celebrate our 6 years. Incredible, more than I could have hoped for, imagined. And I want you to do that thing that only you can do. Thank you so much for listening.